What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In the last video I did from the vault, I mentioned 3 cars I was going to come back and go a little deeper into this week. Figured I'd start with the oldest one first. This one I didn't know what to make of. There was no writing on it. It looks like something out of the 50s. I didn't know if it was American, European. Turns out it's a 54 Dodge Storm, aka the Chrysler Zetor. This is what would have been Chrysler's version of the 50s Corvette or mid-50s T-Bird. There's also a great video on the Petersen website where they do a deep dive into the history of the car and the kind of the automotive landscape of the early 50s in America. There really wasn't a lot of American manufacturers that were making sports cars. Most of the sports cars were coming over from Europe. You had the MGs, the Jags, the Porsches, and the American manufacturers were a little late to the party. There was a few. The Crosley Hot Shot. There was the Curtis sport car that came out in '49. A lot of people say that's the first true American sports car, but there was very few made. There was only, I think, around 18 of these ever made. And then there was the Woodall Wildfire. Not sure how many of those were made, but there really wasn't a lot of American sports cars being made in the early 50s. Chrysler seemed to know that Chevy was working on the Corvette and wanted to come out with their own. Fred Zetor did this original design. His idea was to have 2 bodies. One would be a Pro Touring body, which is this one, and then he wanted it to come with a lightweight fiberglass body. You could just remove 4 bolts, pop the body off, and put the fiberglass one on to go racing. Originally, the car was white. While it was designed by Fred Zetor, it was built by Bertone in Italy, same company that would years later build the Roundabout in 1969, and ultimately the Lamborghini Countach. Chrysler only briefly considered mass producing this. They ultimately decided it was too expensive, and this was the only one ever finished. They put it in a warehouse where it sat for a couple years, and then Fred Zetor got it back. He was somehow able to acquire it from Chrysler. He then drove it for about 16 years before he donated it to a college who really didn't take very good care of it. He got it back from them years later with a bad engine. He changed the engine, painted it blue, drove it for at least a couple more years before he ultimately donated it to the Petersen, where it sits today. Next up is the Laraki Sahara. This is a Moroccan company based out of Casablanca. They were founded in 1999 by a yacht designer, and they built a few concepts over the years. There was the Folgera, which is based off a Lamborghini Diablo. The Borac, which was introduced in 2005 at Geneva, Switzerland. Then they made the Epitome, which was the predecessor to the Sahara. There's only 2 Saharas ever made. Both were commissioned for the King of Morocco. It's based off the Corvette motor and chassis. Features a 7.0-liter Chevy V8, producing over 1,500 horsepower. And it carried a price tag of over $2 million. And I saved the craziest one for last. This is a collaboration between 2 people, Mark Christensen, who was already an accomplished writer and journalist, having written articles in Wired magazine, Playboy, Rolling Stone, and the LA Times. He's also written several books. He later wrote a book about this build called Building the Perfect Beast. And in the description it says that a friend gave him $100,000 towards a childhood dream he had to build his own supercar from scratch. He then enlists the help of Nick Pugh, a 22-year-old hotshot designer and star student from the Art Center of College of Design in Pasadena. This was well over 20 years ago, and Nick was already envisioning a future where anyone could have a 3D printed car designed and built just for them for a reasonable cost. A lot of parts for this were made using a 3D printer. He was also interested in clean burning energy, which is why this 8.2-liter supercharged V8 has been converted to run on natural gas. Nick went on to build several other custom one-off vehicles, both for clients and films. Not sure what the total build time or cost was on this one, but I'm sure it's in the book. It's available on Amazon. Also, all the still shots and a lot of the facts were straight off the Petersen website. You can check it out. Guys, thanks for watching. It's going to do it for this round. I'll be back next week with another video.